Well, there's one radio host that does, and he's a syndicated host. His name is Michael Savage. I once called into his show and I said, "You're not a savage, you're a wiener," because his last name is Wiener. It's not the Savage Nation, it's the Wiener Nation. I'm not a big fan of Michael Savage, but I do think he's a talented guy, and I think he does an entertaining show. He's eccentric. He's different. That's what I would have. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big fan of his. I don't tune him in, but he's a different guy, and I can understand why people like him. I could not like somebody, but understand why people like him. I hate Rush Limbaugh, but I can understand why he has all those listeners. I feel the same way about Michael Savage. But this is what Michael Savage said about Rush Limbaugh on social media. He didn't say it on his show, but he said it on social media. Now, we just played the audio of Rush Limbaugh talking about how he feels like his days are numbered. This is what Michael Savage said. Again, this is a nationally syndicated host. He's been around a long time. He's got a lot of followers. Michael Savage said, quote, "Limbaugh's crying about his cancer on air, exclamation point. Worst 15 minutes in radio history. Spilled a large coffee all over the counter and floor. I promise my audience this. I will not drag you down with me. Best wishes, Rush, but stop and leave the stage with dignity." Now, that was kind of brutal. And he's taken a lot of flack on social media for what he said. I disagree with Michael Savage. As much as I hate Rush Limbaugh, I think he's an absolute scumbag. I don't see anything wrong with Rush talking about his personal life. All right, so he's talking about his cancer. He's talking about how he feels like his days are numbered. No different than another host talking about their sex life in the aspect of you're talking about your personal life. You're sharing your personal life with your listeners. If I go on the air and talk to you about my dating life, or I go on the air and talk to you about how I had a kidney stone last year, which I've done, what's the difference? I don't see anything wrong with that.
That's exactly right.
I think Michael Savage is out of line. I think he was wrong. Now, that I actually think is jealousy. Because Michael Savage has always been, I don't think he is anymore, but he's always been like a top 10 guy in the country as far as ratings goes. Michael Savage has always talked trash about Howard Stern. He's always talked trash about Rush Limbaugh. He's always talked trash about Sean Hannity. He continues to talk trash about people that are more successful than him. I can tell you when I go after Rush Limbaugh, it's got nothing to do with jealousy. The guy's extremely successful. He's made a ton of money on the radio, but it's got nothing to do with jealousy. The reason why I go after
the reason why every year.
Okay, but like I just said, he makes a lot of money. I don't need the exact figure, but all I'm trying to say is the reason why I don't let. There's a lot of radio hosts that say horrible things on the air that I disagree with. I'm not jealous of Michael Savage, but I think he was wrong here. He was wrong with what he said. I want to open up the phone lines, and I want to know what you guys think. And here's the question that I will pose. And let me start by saying this. And the number to call, 257-5396. I will not shed one tear if and when Rush Limbaugh loses his life to cancer. I will feel for his family and friends. I will feel no sorrow for him. And the reason why is because Rush Limbaugh has said a bunch of racist, homophobic, misogynistic things over the course of his career, mocking others that were sick like Michael J. Fox. Why should I feel sorry for him? That's why I will not feel sorry for Rush Limbaugh. With that being said, what would you say about nationally syndicated radio host Michael Savage saying that it was the worst 15 minutes of radio in the history of radio when Rush Limbaugh talked about his cancer on the air recently? I actually disagree with Michael Savage. What do you think about that? Do you think that Rush should be talking about his cancer? Do you feel like Rush is just trying to get sympathy from people like you? He's trying to get people to feel sorry for him? Or do you think it's personable? Do you think it's unique? Do you think it's interesting when Rush does talk about his personal life? I'm going to open up the phone lines right now, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 257-5396. I'll say it one more time, and then I'll leave it at this. If and when Rush Limbaugh loses his life and loses his battle to cancer, I'm not going to shed one tear because I think he's a horrible human being. I didn't feel bad when Donald Trump got the coronavirus. I didn't wish it upon him. I didn't hope that he didn't recover, but I didn't feel sorry for him at all because of the way he talks about other people. I feel the same way about Rush Limbaugh. I didn't feel sorry for him when I heard he got cancer, and I will never feel sorry for him. However, I do not wish death upon him. I think that's very bad karma when you wish death upon people, and I don't wish cancer upon anybody. Now, if
do you think he's telling the truth?
What about the cancer?
Yeah, well, because he was diagnosed with late-stage lung cancer, and then he was under a bunch of various expensive treatment, and it was in remission from what I understand. And then in the last couple of weeks or the last couple of days, it has, and he announced this, that cancer has progressed. So do you think he's telling the truth about it?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I would assume that he's not lying. I have no idea. I don't know why he would lie.
I think he's telling the truth, and I think that if Donald Trump was not in the middle of what, in my opinion, is the most important election, at least in my lifetime, that Rush Limbaugh he would have hung up the headphones right after he found out about that cancer.
Okay,
I think that this is kind of a last hurrah for Rush. Get Donald Trump reelected, retire, and sail off into the sunset. Hopefully he's got some more years, but I'm about 99% sure that his career is over at the start of 2021. And who do you think is going to replace him, Brian?
I don't know.
No, seriously,
I really don't care.
It's a very legitimate question.
Don't know, and I really don't care.
Who can?
I don't care. It's not my concern.
He's on 650 different stations.
I don't
nationwide.
know. I don't care, but I will say this: if I was writing his headstone, I'd say "lived a life of a racist, evil pig." That's what I would put on his headstone.
You would actually write that?
I would write that on his headstone
based on what he said as an entertainer.
Yep, that's
in
not
many cases at the direction of his producer, who is black.
First of all, a producer.
Okay.
A producer did not tell him to impersonate the Chinese president. A producer did not tell him to call Sandra Fluke a whore. His producer did not tell him to go after Michael J. Fox and say he was exaggerating his Parkinson's. A producer did not tell him to mock the NBA and NFL black players, calling them Bloods and Crips. I can go on and on. Producer did not tell him to do those things. Number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5.
Very, very callous, Brian. And it was very embarrassing what Michael said. And he does sound jealous, even more than you do.
702. I'm not jealous at all. As I say for a fourth time, you could say what you want. I'm not jealous. That's not why I'm giving you my opinions of how I feel about Rush Limbaugh. There's plenty of radio hosts out there and successful people that have a lot of money, and they deserve it. But my opinion on Rush Limbaugh being a scumbag and a racist, misogynistic pig has nothing to do with that, his success.
Oh, man.